This idea. So I think what my friend thinks. I hope you can trace it back. So when he tells me stuff, like he'll expose me to a minor, it's actually quite atrocious, something severely, a severe atrocity. Even if it's not true, it's something quite atrocious, some severe thing, like something happened to X person. I don't even want to say because I don't want to traumatize you, but something quite bad. And he'll expose me to a little bit of that, but too much, with too much detail.
Way too much
and
detail.
Think that it's not, or act as though it's not detail. Much detail, even though it, in fact, is plenty of detail. Okay, once you bring up, reference certain things or psychopaths, everyone knows about the information. You've already traumatized the person pretty severely. But his idea is this, that he is inducing a micro version of a severe atrocity upon me in such a way that I will actually cope better to real atrocities that are either occurring or will be occurring in the future when the whole world falls to pieces and we have to remain here. And so this is a sort of social, and I'm sorry for the word, but social vaccination that's supposed to bring about social benefit. You see, when I say that out loud, I don't see where that's an idea that's going to be brought forth in the academia. I don't see it. Yet it is sort of, I guess, a takeoff on David Sloan Wilson's discussion of some stuff. Sounded like I didn't quite forget there, but maybe it was a kind of an evolution, social evolution he talked about. I don't know. I'll have to go back and look at it. It might be somewhere in there, but this social vaccination, this idea of passing a culture he discussed. That's what I remember. I don't remember particular what he was talking about because I don't know. It's very, very hard to learn, and it's very easy to forget. I hate to quote him, but I practically am. So with his ideas, I just kind of wanting to learn them. I was reading it over and over again, but it was just hard to grasp. It's easy to forget. But it stimulated thought. It's stimulated thought. And if something stimulates thought, I don't care if you like the person, respect the person, don't like them, don't respect them. If it stimulates thought and it's not harmful thought, good, positive thought, then it is a good thing. So that's why I kind of read stuff, and I still read David Sloan Wilson because some of his stuff is really good. Some of it is just very good. You have to.
It's very good. It is in
fact good. Okay, like you can argue about whether or not he should write the way he does in fiction. I mean, non-fiction. He put his life in there and tried to write it like a fiction bit, in there, kind of fiction, non-fiction. Don't do that. If you're listening to me, you probably respect me enough to know that that's probably not a good idea. Don't write your little tiny moments with people into your non-fiction work. God, no one wants to even read about it. No. Okay. No one. I don't even know why I'm telling that here. I don't know why I'm weaving that in. I can't remember what we were talking about.
I forgot what led to that whole
what were we talking about to start with?
Communication.
Yeah, was that social vaccination? Oh, I don't know. I think I'm doing a lot of analyzing because I've been around so many people that are just so self-proclaimed practically psychopaths. And the other ones, they'll just right out there say, oh yeah, I have this, and that. They don't seem to understand the gravity of their words, okay? Like, it's not that it's a big deal to have issues in your life. It's a big deal to just act like it's nothing, okay? Like, you can't just go, oh yeah, there's some huge fill in the blank, big fucking deal. And I hope you're not affected by it. Your social vaccination is actually quite devastating. It's not a vaccination of any kind of good thing. It's not doing a good deed for anyone. It puts somebody into fight or flight. That's all it does. And it makes them less equipped to deal with trauma when trauma occurs, if it does. Because let's face it, we live in a world that is not perfect, so we are probably going to encounter some trauma, right? So to prime the body to be in a traumatic state is not a genius idea. It does not, in fact, come from genius. Not that I like the word genius, but never a genius uttered word like that, where they inflict harm to the mind in order to prep the mind for potential harm. It's trying to kill someone to stop them from killing thyself. It's the same logic. Yes. I've seen logic that doesn't make any sense, and I always want to point it out when I see it so I can remember it. I have too many people around me doing things that are just weird. We've had too many people. We keep getting these people.
Lately,
and the thing is, no matter how
recently,
much
it's been
money
a
you
lot,
get
too.
from them, it's not worth it. I don't think so. I mean, well, not with our friends. We don't get any money.
No.
You know, with people we know, but because if anything, it's the other way. They lose money. But even with people that give us money, if they're hurting us, it's not really worth it. Like I was looking at that task that I was doing. I'm going to stop this, but I'm just going to say one thing. Like sometimes we make money at things. Like I was doing this task for, and again, it's for Facebook. It's still Facebook, and it was 25 cents per clicking event, which took, it could take. It was many seconds because sometimes it would malfunction when I was right clicking. And so to get this 25 cents, it depended, but it probably, I don't know, probably took 10, 15, 20 seconds, right? Maybe a little bit more. And no, it took longer than that. Then I had to go into this page and answer all these questions. I had to put the copy and paste the hyperlink that I got on Facebook and then answer a bunch of questions about it. And even though that was fast, it probably ended up taking at least half a minute or more, all told. And that was what I was getting 25 cents for, is for that action, to do that over and over and over again. And then at the end of a certain amount of days, I was going to get double that amount if I hung out and did these 50 transactions that were really unbearable. So I did it, and I didn't complete it in time, and so I didn't get the bonus. It leaves you to feel bad. Like,
it does.
Working for Facebook, working for some of these people, it's seriously, you might as well just stab yourself in the back. It's actually less painful, I think, because you have control over it. You can stop before it gets too deep. The puncture wound, because what they're inflicting upon you, you don't have any control over. It just keeps going. I mean, that's, again, there was an intuitive thing too. I didn't want to deal with that study. I didn't want to do it. I really didn't. I don't know if this is a different thing. If you would have had to been in on it, but I was talking about intuition, and I didn't want to do the study, and I just was like, I don't want to do this, and I did it, and it was unpleasant, and it turned bad. And I think it was destined to turn bad. It's that type of study. It's a study that inspires no one. It didn't inspire you, Sarah.
And
it was that much lack of inspiration.
And then I also didn't realize the deadline.
Yeah, but look at.
In addition to not
being There's been times when I'm doing studies that are far less, they take far less time. But they take a commitment of minutes, but you'd come over. Because they're not so, what do you call it, like mind...
Numbing?
Numbing, yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. They numb my mind a little just to think about it. That you're inspired to go do it. Like in these times, right? You need something inspiring.
You do.
You don't need something mind-numbing.
And that was probably one of the most not mind-numbing.
Yeah, because I can barely do it, and I've done a lot of things. Like I filled out inventories that were 40 minutes long for $2. And actually, that's less painful.
That's true.
It's less painful because you just sit there and you answer. It's usually mostly just a lot of writing or clicking on the screen. You're not sitting there struggling with something. You're just clicking on the screen and answer. I don't know. I had an easier time with those. I felt they were worth it too. I felt it was a valid contribution. So I wouldn't do stuff that feels bad, like even for money, unless the money is like the costs have to be way outweighed by the benefit you're getting. So like the money you're getting has to be. Let's say you're doing something and you're getting $195. That sounds pretty good. How many days is that of a commitment? Is it 1, 2? How far beyond does it go to? Because if it goes further beyond 2 and you're not getting that reward right away, I actually don't know how I feel about waiting, and I'll tell you why. Because it goes back to this thing of incremental participation or incremental stuff happening to you. So as you start participating in something unpleasant, and the reward, you don't get the reward till the end, or at some point in between, you get little tiny rewards. So you start to do it, and it's not a good deal. You do it for a day. You kind of feel it's not good, but you do it another day. You feel like, no, it's not great, but too bad. And then day 3, you're like, okay, I don't like this. But you've already done day 1 and day 2. And it feels like now you might as well just finish day 3 and keep going. So you do that. And then you do that a little bit more. And a little bit more. Pretty soon, it's day 7 or 8 or 9. And now you've gone so far toward the finish line that you want to keep going even though you keep telling yourself to stop. Actually, I have to say, I say stop as soon as you realize it. Stop that moment and no moment later. Do not keep waiting. And the minute that you say, I don't want to participate in this activity, just stop. Unless there's a really high financial payout right then. Because what happens with these other things is you keep going for this potential cheese at the end of the maze for a mouse. And you keep going. And the thing is that sometimes you putz out before you get there and then you don't ever get any reward, or you get half the reward you were supposed to get because you just were too tired to do their stupid little maze of shit. It's just too much, and that's why you end up missing out on it. So it's not worth it.
That's true. I have to say the studies that have been longer for me that I've succeeded in doing were ones that actually I got more immediate payout.
Yes, and they know this. And also, those are the researchers that actually, if you probably had to hang out for 30 days, they probably would be okay. Because they're normal. Because they always plan on paying you. Because their lack of paying you had nothing to do with anything other than this way the system was. If they agreed to something where it was a delayed payment, the researchers that we've done research for the most part, I have to say, have been the type of researchers that did pay, no matter what. And I think they probably would have been good for their word over several days. But it is nice to be shown appreciation right at the time.
It is.
You shouldn't have to participate for 5 to 6 days to see a payout. They should be giving you money right at the time. There's no reason they shouldn't. We don't need to be treated like, I don't know. I don't even know what that is. It's weird. It's like trying to manipulate somebody into doing what you want, and I don't even understand it, because I guess it's because they know people don't want to do it. That's what I'm starting to conclude, because it's data entry, and nobody really wants to give their data up.
I don't think a lot of people do, actually.
Yeah. No. And the thing is I see their point now.
Why they don't want to do it, you mean? Yeah.
There's something inherently that feels wrong about giving up your data. I'm going to talk about it a little bit because I went there. So the minute you give away something in video format, you have to wonder whether there's going to be used for something and what that something is. Like in a normal world, maybe not. But come on, we've all seen the damage that social media does. We've all seen the damage that even just a cell phone has done to communication and just to human beings. To what it's done to each other, like just bullying and stuff. It's horrible. See the YouTube shit, we see the Facebook stuff, you know. So there's nothing good came out of that, you know. Yeah, it's just terrible, you know. And I kind of lost my train of thought though. Or at least I started that part of it. Unless you can regain it, I might.
You mean these studies, the researchers, they're like drawing out the pay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Not giving incentive, and you were. Did I lose track when I was trying to explain it too early in the? I did.
Well, I'll have something on here. I got something down, so and that's why I do it. But no, some of these researchers, it's been horrible. I think there are some people that. I'm not. Oh, we were talking about data, sharing data.
Yes,
that's what we were talking about.
That's what it was. I went way too
what was this sharing data? I was saying reasons to be scared of it maybe is you don't know what's going to happen with this information. And that seems like a no-brainer, but yet when you're sharing data, you forget that this information can end up in places you don't want, or you can use in ways you don't want. It's kind of basic.
It's basic, but also somehow easy to forget.
Yeah, well, when you're wanting money, it's easy to forget. And then also just, you know, like, how much respect is somebody showing you if they're not appreciative enough to pay you a little bit? in a respectful way, how's that appropriate?
You do have to consider
But
that.
then, like, what is going on too with some of this AI? Like, what are we doing? Are we trying to make things into complete robotics? Like, I just, it seems like
Actually, one thing I did notice with some of the AI related studies that we've done recently too, is they don't exactly explain what they're going to use it for.
No, and that's the thing, is we've all just accepted things. I didn't. I say we, and I mean most of humanity. And then by default, we all continue to. We kind of don't know what to do. Like with cell phones and everything. But, when you're doing AI, you have to ask yourself, what is this for? Why am I turning in circles, or why am I gesturing, or what are they doing? Tell the purpose of your research. When I look at all the other research, it's at least it's usually bold and centered, the purpose of the research, and that there's no harm that's going to come out of their study, and you can get out at any time. A lot of them, they even say they'll even pay you, even if you quit. Some of them don't. I'm not going to say all of them do, but I was surprised at the amount of places that permitted it, an exit.
That's actually too.
Even if it's 20%, it would shock me. I think it's higher than that I've seen it, and so I just feel like I feel like it's fair for me to critique corporate studies that don't have funding of some sort that's at least notable. I'm not going to say that I think private research is always going to be corrupt. I think all research can be corrupt. Federally funded research can be corrupt. It's just corrupt with some oversight that's probably corrupt. That's what you're getting. You're getting oversight with probably filled with some corruption.
I think so.
So anyway, that it's important to look at AI and what you're doing in there, and to feel, and also you can kind of tell they kind of treating it like robots. Having said that, I still can't help but be curious about my idea about just seeing this weird stuff about AI recently has made me wonder. I had this idea about maybe a robot stopping humanity from doing itself in, like some sort of malfunction of the system, or the robot figures out like what's going on, basically trains humanity to do what's good for itself. Because honestly, I don't know what's going to entangle mankind out of this mess it puts itself into. It puts itself into quite a mess. It does. I don't have the answers to these questions. I only have senseless rambling at some point when I think of this type of stuff as big questions. And I'm not into hanging in alternate realities or anything like that, or I don't even like the use of that word. I don't mean it the way it comes out. I don't want to hang into different worlds of thought for too long, because when I do that, it ends up being a not good place for me. So I don't do that, and I don't like to leave people down those alleys too long. And so that's partially why my mind switched gears, I think, is because I want to go to a more positive place. That's probably enough to share about that topic. Yeah, that's probably enough to stimulate thought, but it doesn't get too negative. But I think for us to get out of some of the messes we're in, we do have to think about some painful stuff, unfortunately. We really do. Okay, I want to stop, because I actually have to, not that I have to get something to eat. So I will try to record another time.